How do Olympic sprinters like Usain Bolt warm up before winning a gold medal at the Olympics? And what can we learn from them to maximize our own training, even if you're not at their level? I looked through textbooks, research papers, training footage, and even interviews with the top coaches in the world to combine all the best pieces of information and create my own warm-up. Here is what I came up with.
Usually I arrive to the track by car, so I like to first get started by walking. Otherwise, I feel really tight from sitting in the car. If it's a warm day, about one lap around the track will be enough for my hips to loosen up. But if you're walking to the location anyways, you might as well just get into the jog. Research on 20-meter sprint times showed that just 20 minutes of warming up had a significant impact on improving speed.
The warm-up consisted of a jog, dynamic stretching, and incremental sprinting.
20 minutes might sound like a lot, but this includes doing drills and technique work.
Elite sprinters actually warm up for up to 90 minutes before a competition, but unless you're about to run the 100 meters at the Olympics, that won't be necessary. I found that jogging for 5 minutes, 10 if it's cold outside, is good enough to get my heart rate up and loosen up my body. Personally, I jog until I break a sweat, which during the summer in New York takes about 2 laps at the most with a moderate speed. Despite what you would expect, a person with more training will actually sweat faster due to a process called acclimatization, where your body adapts to training and generates heat much faster. Even during the jog, I'm working on basic sprint technique, which includes minimal side-to-side rotation of the torso, landing softly on the ball of the foot, and upright posture with the eyes looking straight ahead.
Have you ever wondered why does our body even heat up when we exercise? Because I have, and here's what I found.
When we use our muscles, they produce energy. About 20% of that energy produced is used for further muscle contractions. Meanwhile, 80% of that energy is converted to heat. This is why your body will shiver when you are cold, because those full body contractions generate heat for the entire body.
Because sprinting is a full body workout, it's important that we have a full body stretching routine.
In this clip, you'll see Tyson Gay, American world champion sprinter, doing some dynamic stretching before getting into his sprint drills. For the ankles, I do crouch walking because I'm able to get a really good stretch in the foot muscles, Achilles, and calves all at the same time. I never have any issues with shin splints, and I suspect that this is one of the main reasons why. For the quads, I do kickbacks. I noticed that this is a stretch that both Tyson Gay and Asafo Powell both do, and it's very easy to see why when you actually try it out. Compared to everything else I've tested so far, this one is by far one of the best at stretching the quads. Just make sure that you're kicking your knees up high to get the full stretch. For the hamstrings, I do bend over reaches. There's a lot of classic hamstring stretches. This one is great because you get a lower back and upper back stretch at the same time. For the hip flexors, I do hands up lunges. This one is great not only because you're warming up your leg muscles during the lunge, but you are also stretching out the hip flexors and abs when you raise your arms. For the shoulders, I do external rotations. The arms move violently during the sprint, so we can't forget about the shoulder and need to prepare the rotator cuffs as well as loosen up the pec muscles. This is another stretch which I've noticed that Asafo Powell does before his sprints. For the glutes, I do steps with a rotation. This one allows you to get a deep stretch in the glutes and also the upper back. For the lower back, I do stepovers. I found this one gets a great stretch in the lower back muscle, specifically the QL muscle, which gets very tight from both sitting and standing. For the abductors and adductors, I do side lunges. This one gets a good stretch in the muscles on the inside and outside of the leg, which are usually neglected but very much active during sprinting. It's important to note that all of these should be done moving.
Plenty of research has already shown us that static stretching, where you hold each position for time before your workout, actually decreases performance.
Specifically, one study with 97 rugby players showed that static stretching decreased sprint performance while dynamic stretching increased it.
Typically, I'll do 8 to 12 reps of each one of these before moving on to the next step of the warm-up. In theory, can you get into a hot tub to warm up and still get all the same benefits? Well, let's define the 3 ways you can warm up. One is passive, which is through external means like getting to the sauna or getting into the hot tub. Number 2 is active non-specific, which is by performing movements not relevant to the workout you are about to do. Number 3 is active specific, which is by performing movements relevant and similar to the workout you are about to do. According to research, there's actually no significant difference in physiological effects and performance between active and passive warming up. Although we could argue that active specific would be the best use of time since you are warming up and also practicing technique at the same time.
Sprint drills are usually done fast and at high intensities, which is why it makes the most sense to do them after dynamic stretching. Depending on what you are working on that day, your sprint drills will vary. If you're working on becoming faster for track, for your sport, or just for bragging rights, you're gonna wanna focus on acceleration drills such as the acceleration foot strike drill. This drill teaches you to strike the ground behind the hips while having a significant forward lean, just like you would during the acceleration phase. If you're working on improving your top speed for conditioning, fat loss, and or hormonal benefits, then you're gonna wanna focus on upright sprinting drills such as the A step with hands up. By keeping the hands up, it forces you to have an upright posture, just like the top speed phase of the sprint. If you're working on your starts to train your muscles to fire explosively, improve your reaction time, and or build muscle, then you're gonna wanna focus on start drills such as the bent over arm swings. This trains two things. One, it trains your back muscles and your core muscles to stabilize your torso from bending or twisting. Two, it trains your arms to swing powerfully so that your legs follow and you exit the blocks powerfully. I actually have a full video on my top 3 beginner sprint drills. If you haven't already seen it, it'll pop up at the end of this video and it'll be in the description. If you're not working on any specific phase of the sprint, then you could do all of these for 2 sets each. Instead of focusing on reps, I would worry more about performing as many as I can with nearly perfect technique and take a break once I feel any bit of fatigue setting in. At this point, we're finally sprinting first at a low intensity and slowly increasing it until we reach the speed we plan on using for our workout. I forgot my spikes on this day, but after a couple of these, I usually put them on. This is the transition between your warm-up and your actual sprint session. Although depending on your fitness level and goals, this could definitely qualify as a workout itself. In this video, Usain Bolt warming up before winning a gold medal at the Olympics, I counted that he completes around 15 of these. Unless you're about to run at 100% effort in an attempt to break a world record, you probably won't need as many. Personally, it takes me around 10 of these before I feel ready for my actual workout. But how many you need will largely depend on how long it takes you to feel ready and what you're working on that day. Experiment and find what works best for you.
Although there isn't one best way to do this, it seems like this is the general pattern that you would want to follow. Jogging, dynamic stretching, sprint drills, incremental sprints, and don't forget the most important part of this entire process, hitting the like button. Now, apart from smashing the like button, what does your sprint warm-up consist of? Drop it in the comments and check out my top 3 sprint drills for beginners if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.